why are we still talking about a quiet, cerebral sci-fi movie from 2016 that has almost zero explosions, absolutely no space battles, and features a syntax-obsessed linguist as its main action hero?
Well, I mean, probably because it completely shatters the rules of what a Hollywood blockbuster is supposed to be, right?
Exactly.
You sit down with your popcorn expecting a global laser war, and instead you get this incredibly intense, high-stakes masterclass in grammar and human psychology.
And that is exactly why today we're doing a deep dive into Denis Villeneuve's masterpiece, Arrival.
Oh, I'm so excited for this one.
Me too. We want to welcome you to today's deep dive. We have a seriously fascinating stack of sources for this. We're tearing through behind-the-scenes interviews with the production designers, the sound team, the editor, and this is the cool part, we're even digging into actual cognitive neuroscience research.
Yeah, it's not just movie magic today. We're getting into the real science.
Exactly. We want to show you exactly how this movie was built from the ground up, and separate the sci-fi fantasy from the real-world science.
It's the perfect film to deconstruct because it's a movie that actually rewards you the closer you look at the mechanics of it. Like, everything from the sound design to the set decoration was engineered to manipulate your perception.
Okay, let's unpack this. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of the production, let's just lay down the foundation really quickly.
Good idea.
So, we are following Dr. Louise Banks, played by Amy Adams, who is a brilliant linguistics professor. She gets dragged out of her classroom by the military when 12 massive, completely featureless alien spacecraft just land around the world.
Keep hovering there.
Yeah, just hovering. And her job is to figure out a way to ask them what they want before a global panic triggers World War III.
Which is a pretty stressful Tuesday, to say the least.
Just a little bit. Now, if you are listening to this and you haven't seen Arrival, consider this your official blaring spoiler warning.
Seriously, pause this.
Yeah, pause this, go watch the film right now, and then come back. We are discussing the entire plot, including the massive twist ending.
It really is an ending you don't want ruined. I mean, it completely reframes the entire 2 hours you just watched.
So assuming everyone listening has seen it, the entire narrative engine of this movie runs on a real linguistic concept called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis.
Right, which is a real thing.
It is. The basic idea, which was proposed by Edward Sapir and Benjamin Lee Whorf, is that the language you speak fundamentally dictates how you perceive reality.
What's fascinating here is how they applied that. Whorf famously argued that the Hopi Native Americans experienced time differently, more as a circular, ongoing process rather than a straight line, simply because their language doesn't have the rigid past, present, and future tenses that we use in English.
The movie just takes this and runs with it. The aliens, the heptapods, they write in these complex circles. And as Louise learns their language, she starts actually experiencing time non-linearly.
She starts having those visions.
Right. But I struggle with this premise a little bit. Like, is that actually how the human brain processes language? Because it feels a lot more like telepathy than linguistics.
Well, you're right to be skeptical because the film takes a very small grain of scientific truth and just stretches it to its absolute fictional limit.
Okay, so it's exaggerated.
Highly exaggerated. We looked at the research from cognitive neuroscientists, specifically Angela Grant and Benjamin Zinsser, who actually analyzed the film's science, and they point out that Arrival is leaning on what's called linguistic determinism.
Linguistic determinism.
Right. That's the most extreme version of the hypothesis. It's the idea that language forms this rigid cage around your brain, dictating exactly what you are biologically capable of thinking.
So the movie basically treats the alien language like a magical software update that gives Louise the superpower of precognition.
Exactly. It's a great plot device, but real science leans toward linguistic relativity.
Which means what, exactly?
It means language doesn't rewire your brain or give you superpowers. It acts more like a cognitive cheat sheet or a sorting mechanism.
Okay, I think I need an example for that.
So the classic example is Lera Boroditsky's study comparing English and Russian speakers. In English, we use the word blue for everything from a light sky blue to a dark navy.
Yeah, it's all just blue to us.
Right. But Russian has two entirely distinct words. They use goluboy for light blue and sini for dark blue.
Okay, but does that mean a Russian speaker's eyes physically absorb light differently?
No, not at all. Their eyes work exactly the same way ours do. But the study found that because Russian speakers have those two distinct categories readily available in their brains, they're actually faster at visually distinguishing between those shades on a screen.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, it gives them a fractional millisecond advantage in processing speed. But, and here is the critical part that completely undercuts the movie's premise, if you give those same Russian speakers a distracting memory task, that advantage vanishes.
Wait, like what kind of task?
Like making them rehearse an 8-digit string of numbers in their head while looking at the colors. If you do that, that processing advantage completely disappears.
Ah, I see. Because their brain is occupied, it can't utilize that specialized linguistic sorting system.
Exactly. So the movie's premise is essentially science fantasy.
Let me try an analogy here. So learning a completely alien language isn't like downloading a new operating system into your brain that suddenly lets you see the future. It's really just getting a slightly different pair of glasses that tints how you see the world.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. But let's push that analogy even further. It's less like a new pair of glasses and more like installing a new filing cabinet.
A filing cabinet?
Yeah, you still have all the exact same papers as everyone else, but because Russian speakers have a dedicated separate folder for light blue, they can pull that file out a millisecond faster than an English speaker who just dumps every shade of blue into one giant messy drawer.
Okay, I love that. The filing cabinet idea makes total sense.
It biases your attention, but it doesn't fundamentally alter reality. Zinsser actually noted that the real science is about 1% as dramatic as what Louise experiences in the film.
Right, which makes sense for Hollywood.
Right.
We know they supercharge the science to make the narrative work, but what fascinates me just as much is how they visually communicated this mind-bending, nonlinear species.
Oh, the visuals are stunning.
They really are. Because moving from abstract neuroscience to physical set design seems like a massive leap.
It is a huge leap. And the director, Denis Villeneuve, and his production designer, Patrice Vermette, were incredibly meticulous about it. They were given a rare luxury in Hollywood, which was 14 weeks of what they called soft prep.
14 weeks is a long time just to prep.
Yeah, just the two of them, no massive crew, isolating themselves and playing creative ping pong to figure out the aesthetic language of the film.
And their primary inspiration wasn't even sci-fi. I found this so interesting. They both independently visited art exhibits by James Turrell.
Oh, the light and space artist?
Yes, Turrell creates these massive, immersive installations using light and space that often create a Ganzfeld effect, where you actually lose your sense of depth perception.
That visual disorientation perfectly mirrors what Louise is going through mentally as she loses her grip on linear time.
Exactly. But then you look at how they designed the actual alien ship, and the origins are surprisingly mundane. I was laughing out loud when I read this.
The oyster.
Yes, the towering, terrifying, monolithic spacecraft originally started out as an oyster.
Which sounds ridiculous out of context.
That's so funny. Vermette admitted they initially sketched an oyster shape simply because he and Villeneuve happened to love eating oysters.
That is the most anticlimactic origin story for a spaceship I have ever heard.
Right, just two guys eating seafood. But that's the reality of the creative process. You start with something mundane and you iterate.
Yeah, and Villeneuve eventually stumbled across an image of a real exoplanet called Eunomia, which is shaped like this bizarre oval rock.
It looks so weird, yeah.
They loved the organic, unmanufactured look of it, so they stretched that oval out, made it slightly concave on the sides to give it that ominous silhouette, and created the ship.
But the most crucial design choice wasn't the shape itself. It was where they put it.
Hovering 28 feet off the muddy ground.
Yes. Why do you think they did that? Because they could have just had it land.
Well, practically, it creates a great visual of that cherry picker lifting the scientists up into the ship, but psychologically, it is the ultimate power move.
A power move by the aliens.
Exactly. It's a complete subversion of the standard alien landing trope, where the ramp slowly lowers down to the Earth and they walk out. The aliens are essentially saying, we crossed the universe to get here, but we aren't coming down to your level. You have to literally elevate yourselves to meet us.
Oh, I love that. You have to do the work.
That psychological dominance is baked into every inch of the set design. It is all about intentional contrast. Like, think about the interior of the alien ship.
Right, the communication room.
Yeah, Vermette designed that room using textures of black sediment rock. It's incredibly minimalist, modeled after a Zen Buddhist temple.
Which is very calming.
Exactly. The architecture itself implies deep history, absolute calm, and immense wisdom.
And then you contrast that with the human side of the wall. The military base is this cluster of flimsy white hazard tents pitched in a muddy, rainy field.
It looks miserable.
It really does. The interiors are claustrophobic, stuffed with exposed wiring, chaotic blinking screens, and people just shouting at each other. Vermette said he wanted to physically manifest the sheer anxiety of humanity trying to handle an alien visitation on a random Tuesday morning.
The humans are scrambling and reacting out of fear, while the aliens just exist. They are pure presence.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Even with all that incredible set design, they still hit a massive creative wall when it came to the alien language itself.
Oh, the logograms.
Yeah, those circular, inky logograms are the most iconic visual in the movie, but they almost didn't happen. Vermette had a whole team of linguistic experts and designers trying to create the written language, but everything they submitted just looked too human.
Because humans are biologically wired to think sequentially. We write left to right or top to bottom. Subject, verb, object.
Right.
It is incredibly difficult for a human brain to design something that implies a complete absence of linear time.
So Vermette is basically pulling his hair out, stressed beyond beliefs, and his wife, Martine Bertrand, who is an accomplished artist, sees him struggling.
I love this story.
It's so good. She essentially says, "Do you want me to take a crack at it?" She sits down at their kitchen table and approaches it not as a linguist trying to build grammar, but as an artist playing with space and geometry.
And she designs those iconic, abstract, floating ink blot circles right there.
Yes. The entire visual identity of the heptapods came from a spouse stepping in to help at the kitchen table.
Which is beautifully poetic, considering the entire theme of the movie is about the power of asking for help and finding common ground.
Exactly. Now that blending of alien geometry and human psychology
Yeah.
creates this overwhelming visual atmosphere. But all of that design work would completely fall flat if the auditory experience broke the illusion.
Oh, 100%. If those aliens sounded like guys in rubber suits or like 1950s synthesizers, the movie fails.
It becomes a B movie instantly. And that was the mandate given to the sound team, led by Sylvain Bellemare. The absolute golden rule was 0 electronic sounds.
No Star Wars synth beeps, no digital modulation. Everything had to originate from an organic source.
Why was that so important to them?
Because if a creature sounds electronic to our ears, our brains immediately categorize it as a machine, a robot. The filmmakers needed you to feel on a primal level that these beings were ancient and biologically alive.
So sound designer Days Whitehead was the one tasked with finding that voice. And the mechanism behind what he did is just fascinating. He didn't use exotic animals at all.
What did he use?
He used recordings of camels, pigs, birds, and traditional Maori flutes. When you hear the heptapods making those deep, resonant, clicking rumbles, you are literally listening to a camel.
Wait, really? A camel? But it doesn't sound anything like a camel.
I know, and the acoustic science behind why it works is brilliant. Whitehead took those animal sounds and aggressively pitched them down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, when you digitally lower the pitch of an organic sound, you are stretching the sound wave. To the human ear, a longer sound wave implies a massive acoustic chamber, like a giant chest cavity.
So by pitching down a camel's vocalization, Whitehead essentially tricked the audience's brains into perceiving a creature that is physically enormous. It triggers our primal instinct for awe and fear.
That is wild. And they applied that same organic tactile philosophy to the sound of the written language. When the aliens shoot that black ink into the air to form the logograms, it sounds heavy and wet.
Almost gross.
Yeah, kind of gross. Foley artist Nicholas Becker actually created that sound by swishing vegetables around in a tub of water, pouring rice, and scraping metal wire brushes against plastic boards.
Because it needs to sound like a biological expulsion. It shouldn't sound like a laser printer, It should sound messy and visceral.
It really grounds the high-concept sci-fi in a reality you can almost feel. They didn't even use engine noises for this spaceship.
Right, no engines at all.
The ambient hum of the ship hovering was created using recordings of grinding rocks and shifting ice. It makes the spacecraft feel less like a vehicle and more like a geographic event, like a moving mountain.
But it wasn't just the alien sounds that required that level of acoustic engineering. There is that early scene where the military helicopter lands on Louise's lawn to recruit her.
Oh, that scene is so loud. Yeah.
Villeneuve specifically told the sound team that he wanted the helicopter to sound like an alien invasion just for a few seconds, as this subtle homage to Apocalypse Now. He wanted to capture the sheer disruptive terror of the military-industrial complex invading her quiet academic life.
But the technical challenge of executing that must have been a nightmare.
Exactly, because you have the mechanical, repetitive thwack of the helicopter blades operating in the exact same low-frequency range as Jóhann Jóhannsson's heavy, brooding musical score.
Right, and from an audio mixing standpoint, when two sounds occupy the exact same frequency, they clash and cancel each other out. creating what mixers call mud. You just hear a wall of indistinguishable rumble.
So how did they fix it without sacrificing the music or the realism? I mean, a helicopter sounds like a helicopter.
They literally had to tune the helicopter.
Shut up. They tuned a helicopter.
Yeah. The sound team altered the pitch and the harmonics of the mechanical helicopter blades so that they were playing in a complementary musical key to Jóhannsson's score.
That is incredible.
They turned the machine into an instrument in the orchestra so it would weave into the tension rather than ruining it.
Which is just a masterclass in collaboration. But, you know, all of this incredible audio and visual work still has to be paced correctly. And that requires a completely different kind of discipline in the editing room.
And editor Joe Walker has a philosophy that I find entirely counterintuitive.
Yeah, he likes to edit a scene backward, which my instinct would be to start at frame 1 and build the momentum forward. How do you even establish a rhythm if you start from the end? It sounds backward, literally, but it's a brilliant way to ensure maximum emotional impact. Walker doesn't look at a scene chronologically. He scans all the footage to find what he calls the anchor, the core emotional beat.
Like the climax of the scene.
Exactly. It might be a single line of dialogue or a very specific sigh or a micro-expression on Amy Adams' face. Once he finds that climax frame, he places it on the timeline. Then he reverse engineers the tension.
Working backward from there.
Yeah. He figures out exactly how little information he needs to give the audience and what shots he needs to use leading up to that point to make that specific anchor hit as hard as possible. He's building a ramp up to the emotion.
He also edits with the speakers completely turned off for long stretches, which again, sounds crazy for a movie with such incredible sound design.
He does it to test the visual storytelling. If the audience can understand the power dynamics in the room, the shifting tension, and the underlying emotion without hearing a single word of dialogue or a single note of music, then the edit is solid. The visual rhythm has to carry its own weight.
So what does this all mean for the final product? He uses the absence of sound just as effectively as the heavy score. Think about the sequence right after the aliens arrive.
When she goes home.
Yeah, we see Louise leave the chaotic university. Sirens are blaring. Fighter jets are ripping across the sky. There are car crashes on the news. And then she walks into her house on the lake. And it is completely, violently silent.
That silence is weaponized. Psychologically, when a human is exposed to intense chaos, the brain expects the noise to continue.
Right.
When you suddenly plunge the environment into dead silence, it triggers sensory deprivation. The brain goes into hypervigilance, frantically scanning for threats that it can't hear.
That makes so much sense. By pulling the audio completely out of that scene, Walker makes you feel exactly as isolated, vulnerable, and terrified as Louise does.
It sets the psychological baseline for the rest of the film.
And all of this meticulous craftsmanship, the nonlinear linguistics, the monolithic set design, the organic acoustic trickery, and the incredibly disciplined editing, it all converges to deliver what I believe is the most devastating and perfectly executed ending in modern science fiction.
It is an absolute emotional gut punch, and it's entirely because of the restraint they use to reveal it.
Let's break down that climax, because we have to talk about it. For 2 hours, we have watched Louise suffer through these hazy, sun-drenched visions of a daughter who died of a rare, incurable disease.
We assume she is a grieving mother.
Right. But as she fully internalizes the heptapod language, her brain essentially unlocks the filing cabinet for nonlinear time. She realizes these aren't flashbacks of a past she is mourning. They are flash forwards to a future she hasn't lived yet.
It's just a brilliant twist.
It is. She is seeing herself marrying her colleague Ian. She sees them having their daughter Hannah. She sees Hannah die in her teens. And she sees Ian leaving her, furious and broken, because she told him something he wasn't ready to hear.
This raises an important question, though. She confesses to him that she knew their daughter was going to die before they even conceived her, and she never gave him the choice to opt out of that pain.
It's completely devastating, and it culminates in this breathtaking final scene at the Montana base camp. The aliens have just vanished, the mist is rolling in, and the color palette shifts to this melancholic, earthy mix of gray and sepia.
And that music starts.
Max Richter's heartbreaking string piece on the nature of daylight begins to swell. Ian walks up to her and says that the biggest surprise of this entire incredible journey wasn't meeting the aliens, it was meeting her. and they embrace.
And here's the profound philosophical weight of the entire movie, wrapped in a voiceover. Ian asks her, "Do you want to make a baby?"
And she knows everything.
She knows everything. She knows the warmth of holding her child, but she also knows the inescapable, crushing grief of watching her die and the intense loneliness of her marriage collapsing. And knowing every ounce of that suffering is guaranteed, she still looks at him and says, yes. She accepts the agony as the price of admission for the love.
It literally gives me chills just talking about it. And going back to the editor, Joe Walker, this is where his philosophy of not cutting elevates the movie to a masterpiece.
Yes. Walker operates on the principle that just because a director shot multiple angles, you are under no obligation to use them.
Right, less is more.
A lesser editor would have chopped that scene to pieces. You know, cutting to a close-up of Jeremy Renner looking earnest, then a close-up of Amy Adams crying, then back and forth to artificially manufacture drama.
But they didn't do that.
No. Instead, Walker and Villeneuve use one wide, over-the-shoulder shot. They just let the camera linger on Amy Adams as she rests her head on his shoulder. By holding that shot, they force the audience to project their own empathy onto her stillness.
They let Amy Adams' micro-expressions carry the entire philosophical weight of the film. You see the exact moment the realization washes over her. It's a blend of absolute terror, profound sorrow, and total, beautiful acceptance.
It's incredible acting.
But for me, what makes it linger is the tragic irony of her character arc. The entire movie is about the power of communication. Louise literally deciphers an intergalactic, non-linear alien dialect, bridges an impossible gap, and saves the human race from a global war.
But
Yet, despite being the greatest communicator in human history, her own marriage is doomed because she cannot find a way to communicate her visions to her husband without breaking his heart.
it's the ultimate human paradox. Language is the tool we use to connect with each other, but it is also the wall that isolates us when words simply fail to carry the weight of our actual lived experience. She can speak to aliens across the void of space, but human communication, when it comes to the heart, is just too fragile.
Which is exactly why Arrival holds up as a modern classic. Who would enjoy this movie? I mean, anyone who loves cinema that makes you think. It proves that you can take real-world cognitive science, even if you have to stretch it a bit for the narrative, combine it with meticulously thoughtful, organic design, and use immense emotional restraint to create a massive sci-fi spectacle.
And you don't need a single laser beam to keep people on the edge of their seat.
Not a single one. Would I recommend it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Would I watch it again? I've seen it 5 times, and it gets better every time.
It treats the audience with respect. It doesn't scream at you. It whispers, and it asks you to line in, pay attention to the details, and feel something profound.
I can guarantee you, the next time you sit down to watch this movie, you are going to experience it entirely differently. When you look at that hovering spaceship, forcing humanity to look up, you won't just see a black shell. You'll picture an exoplanet dictating the power dynamics.
Right.
When you hear the aliens riding in the air, you will hear wet vegetables grounding the sci-fi in reality. And when the heptapods speak, you'll know you are listening to the pitched-down rumble of a camel, tricking your brain into feeling awe.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, building on the neuroscience we started with.
Oh, I love a good final thought. Let's hear it.
If the language you speak acts as a cognitive filing cabinet, subtly shifting how quickly and how accurately you categorize your world, what vital parts of your own reality, your own emotions, or your own relationships are currently completely invisible to you right now, simply because you don't yet have the words to describe them.